Good evening, I'm Courtney Jerome, and you are tuned in to Ask the Specialist. Tonight, we ask the nutritionists on CMU Public Television. Thank you for joining us for Ask the Nutritionist tonight. Our conversation is fueled by your questions, so we invite you to submit your questions to us this evening so we can ask our live in-studio guests. There are 3 ways that you can get our questions to us tonight. You can give us a call at 1-800-727-9268. You can head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/askthespecialist. Send us a message or write on our wall there. Or if you are a fan of Twitter, you can send us a tweet to @WCMU_AskThe. Now, as a reminder, those 3 ways will be at the bottom of your screen throughout the show, giving us a call, going on our Facebook page, or sending us a tweet. Now, as we wait for your questions to come in, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our registered dietitians who are here live in studio to answer those questions. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. Now, Katie Mora, can you please tell us a little bit about your organizations and companies that you run so our viewers have an idea of what kind of questions that you'll be able to answer tonight?
I would love to. I am the owner and operator of the Plate Boutique, which is a nutrition-inspired kitchenware store in downtown Mount Pleasant. And what my specialty area is and what our primary focus at our store is to help people eat better. We want to get people in their kitchens. We want them to have fun with their food. We want them to eat more nutritionally beneficial ingredients. So that's what we do. We focus on meal planning. We focus on cooking classes and demos. We work one-on-one with people to really help them eat better wherever they're at.
Okay, excellent. And also joining us tonight, Adrienne Skates with Mid-Michigan Medical Center. What is your day-to-day like?
We spend a lot of time doing nutrition education for our patients, diabetes, of course, being one of the big ones, and weight management. And we also do a lot of work with the inpatients of the hospital, evaluating their nutritional needs and making sure that during their hospital stay they're getting the nutrition that they need and educating them for when they go home.
Okay, great. So Katie and Adrienne are going to be your registered dietitians answering your questions tonight. So again, please give us a call, 1-800-727-9268. Head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/askthespecialist, or you can send us a tweet to @WCMU_AskThe. Now, one of the common questions that you often get, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers can relate to, really busy individuals. They don't necessarily feel as if they have a lot of time to cook and prepare really healthy meals. What kind of recommendations do you have for those busy viewers and how to cook a healthy, quick meal? Katie?
This is a great question, and it's one that I get asked a lot. And luckily, there are a lot of things that you can do to modify your schedule so that you can eat well no matter how busy you get. I am the mother of 2 small children. I have a wonderful husband who helps out a lot when I'm not around running our business. And it is possible utilizing leftovers, planning ahead. Maybe it's packing meals the night before, looking for ways to simplify some of your favorite recipes, looking for healthy snacks that you can take with you on the go while you're traveling from place to place. Those are all some really great ways to make healthy eating work for you no matter how busy your schedule might get.
Okay, excellent. And also something else to keep in mind is the Myplate. And then that Myplate is to determine what the proper amount of servings you need of each food group in a given day. Can you maybe explain a little bit and break down that Myplate for us?
Yeah, Myplate came out in the last couple of years by the United States government, and actually their website, myplace.gov, has a lot of good information to go along with that plate. But basically what it does is it plans a meal for you. It includes the major food groups. It includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, protein foods, and dairy, and it shows the amounts on the plate, limiting it to like a quarter of your plate for your protein, which automatically controls portions for people. So it's a real visual way of planning a meal. I think it's a great concept for people to simplify things for them.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you for explaining that for us. Now we have a viewer from Reed City who takes vitamins every day. She is having some difficulty with her eyesight. They they're a little bit sensitive to the light. Are these multivitamins maybe helping her, or are there certain kind of vitamins that are out there that you would recommend that she try using?
There are specifically designed multivitamins for eye health. She may want to discuss that with her eye doctor. My guess is the burning is likely not nutritionally related, but certainly nutrition is important for good eye health. Helps prevent things like macular degeneration. So eating the dark leafy greens, the orange vegetables, getting color on your plate. Multivitamin mineral supplements can be helpful for people that may not be eating a well-balanced meal plan.
Okay, great. And then also another dietary supplement type question. Is there a dietary supplement to promote dietary health if you have a goiter?
I am not aware of one. Goiters are often because of an iodine deficiency. We don't see them so much anymore. Certainly iodized salt is a good way. If you're trying to limit your sodium intake, taking just a good multivitamin with some iodine in it may help with a goiter.
Okay, and then staying on the same theme here of supplements, a question from Maple Rapids. Is there a supplement diabetics should be taking if they are insulin dependent? Now you deal a lot with diabetes questions and such.
Well, there's always that controversy about do we need a multivitamin mineral supplement. If we're eating a good, well-balanced diet, probably we don't need a multivitamin. I think of diabetes, chromium is usually the key nutrient that people talk about. If you're chromium deficient, and that's really the caveat there is if, taking a chromium supplement may help improve your diabetes, but if you're getting a good, well-balanced meal plan with your fruits and vegetables, the odds are you're probably not chromium deficient.
Okay, thank you.
There's also some evidence that cinnamon can also help. Just ground cinnamon. McCormick is a brand that might be something worth checking out. Again, there's not conclusive studies that have really made that a guarantee, but it could be something that might be beneficial as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you both for that answer. Now we have a question coming in via our social media page. It's also nutrition related. What do you think of the Daniel fast? Are you familiar with that fast? What are your thoughts on it?
That is a great question. There's actually two different biblically based plans that sound very similar. There's the Daniel fast, and there's also the Daniel plan, which is a little bit newer and has been introduced by Rick Warren. The Daniel fast is sometimes described as a vegan diet or a vegan meal plan, and the emphasis really isn't on diet for the sake of weight loss, or at least it shouldn't be. It really is more designed as a biblical fast. There's a lot of evidence showing that can be very helpful in growing closer to Christ, but many times it can be utilized as a diet. So it is a little stringent, but it's something that many people have had success with.
Okay, now we've been receiving a lot of great questions so far tonight via our phone line and our social media channels, and we welcome you to continue giving us those questions tonight because your questions are fueling our conversation. Just like this question that we just received from Gulf City in the Upper Peninsula, they read in a nutrition article that a major cause of cancer is the lack of iodine. Have you heard of similar research about that, or have any insight about iodine?
I have not heard that.
I haven't either.
Okay.
The important thing for prevention of cancer, again, is just basically good nutrition. All things in moderation. Color your plate. Lots of color. Orange, green, purples.
Okay. And another question that we've received from Mount Pleasant, they were wondering about potatoes being on the list of organic foods. Why aren't they necessarily on that list, and do you believe that they should be? Katie?
Well, I'm assuming that we're probably talking about the Dirty Dozen, which is a list of foods that if you are going to try to eat more organically, those are the ones that you primarily want to avoid. Really a good rule of thumb is that if you're going to eat something that has the skin on it, that's something that if you are going to adapt to an organic lifestyle, that's probably something that you want to choose as an organic product.
Okay. And also another product that might be a little on the organic side here, teas. Now, drinking teas that are flavored with fruits, such as maybe blueberry or pomegranates, do you get the nutritional value of those fruits with the flavors in items such as teas?
Probably going to get a little bit from that, but I question how significant it really is. It's certainly not going to be the same as eating a bush of, or a dish of blueberries or a dish of a fruit, but probably some value.
Okay, excellent. And how about for calcium? What is the recommended amount of calcium an adult should have in a day? And does it vary between males and females?
It definitely does. For women who are under the age of 51, you're looking at about 1,000 milligrams. Once they're over the age of 51, we're looking at 1,200 milligrams, and for men, it's 1,000 milligrams. So it does vary a little bit. For children, it's also different as well, but they're not too far away from each other. Pretty easy to reach in a day.
Okay, and what are the conversions there? So would it be a glass of milk and a yogurt or some ice cream? What would be a nice way to get your daily intake of calcium, not necessarily drinking that amount in milk every day?
Right. Well, the recommendation is usually 2 to 3 servings. And a serving, if we're looking at dairy products, is going to be 8 ounces of milk, 6 ounces of yogurt, a couple squares, 4 squares of cheese would also count. But if you aren't doing dairy, there are alternatives out there. You can definitely do dairy alternative beverages. There are a wide variety these days of different beverages that you can do. You can also get some of your calcium from the vegetables that you consume too. Those are a great way to get calcium in. So for most people, it shouldn't be a challenge to reach that daily requirement.
Okay, so if you're having your vegetables, that can count towards your calcium. Now, do you have to have double the amount of vegetables to receive one of those servings of calcium, or how does that all work out?
I would love it if people doubled or quadrupled their vegetables all the time. That would be wonderful. So when it comes to vegetables, I say go big. You're not going to go wrong with vegetables. Fill half your plate. When we look at calcium from vegetables, it is a little less absorbable. So you do need to have a little bit more if that is something that you want to do. But definitely, yeah, go crazy. Add more vegetables. It's always a good decision.
Okay, great. And a lot of people tend to veer towards vegetables around the January timeframe when New Year's resolutions are coming on. They're trying a lot of diets too. So that now that we're in January, it's a really great time to be discussing these nutritions. Not every time of the year is a good time as well, but when it comes to New Year's resolutions. So when we're thinking about diets in particular, we have a question via social media as well. They're asking if there's a low carb or fat-free diet that is out there that you would recommend, and is it low carb or fat-free the better way to lose weight? Adrienne?
I really believe in balanced meal planning, even for weight control. There are low-carb diets out there. There are a lot of them. Most of them they're good. They work for a short duration. The problem is, with any diet, we can go on them, we can go off them. So adopting a healthier lifestyle, a healthier eating plan, and putting the focus on nutrition versus going on and off a diet is always what we recommend. Going back to Myplate, it's all portion controlled, it's balanced. So it's filling up half that plate with those vegetables, a quarter with your whole grains or starch, quarter with your protein. So it's balanced, it's portion controlled, it provides the nutrition that you need, and it's something you can do for a lifetime. So that's my recommendation.
Now, should they use the Myplate for every meal of the day, or specifically lunch and dinner with perhaps a lighter breakfast?
Yeah, I've seen some variations of Myplate for breakfast, but usually, it's a good time to get in some whole grains, a whole grain cereal, a whole grain toast. For breakfast proteins, eggs are still a good choice. I've even heard people eat cottage cheese for breakfast. A good serving of dairy, whether it's a yogurt or a milk, and fruit or juice is always a good balanced breakfast.
Okay, great, thank you. Now another hot nutrition-related topic that's going on right now is the gluten-free diet. Can you maybe explain a little bit what a gluten-free diet is, who needs to be on that kind of a diet plan, and things along those natures here, Katie?
Yeah, definitely. The gluten-free diet plan is something that is definitely becoming more popular. And when we look at what gluten is a protein that's found in a variety of grains. And for some people, it is a medical necessity to make sure that they are not getting gluten in their diet, because if they do, there are consequences to that. Lots of digestive distress, atrophy of their digestive tract. They cannot have gluten. There are also other people who are adapting the gluten-free diet to lose weight. Or trying to determine if it's something that's causing pain or discomfort. Many people will use it for autoimmune disorders as well, as a way to eat well, to feel better. So there's a lot of confusion about it. One of the biggest confusions that I often hear is that when you're going gluten-free, you're giving up all grains, and that's not necessarily the case. It's really important, no matter what sort of meal plan that you do, that it's nutritionally adequate. You can follow a gluten-free diet and get all of the nutrients that you need, but you definitely have to do your homework. I highly recommend meeting with a dietitian to make sure that if there is anything that's missing, that you are aware of that and you make up for that with other foods in your meal plan.
Okay, and how does someone get a hold of a registered dietitian in their area? I know obviously you are here in the mid-Michigan area, but we also reach into the Metro Detroit and Northern Michigan areas as well. Is there a specific resource that you would recommend for someone?
The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has a website. It's eatright.org, and they can go on there, and there's a way to locate registered dietitians through that resource.
Okay, great, thank you. Now maybe we can touch base a little bit on diabetes and how that relates to nutrition for a couple of minutes here. We have a caller from Saginaw that is asking, if you're a diabetic and on diabetic medication, is it beneficial or detrimental to take a multivitamin?
I don't think it's either one. I think it's fine to take a multivitamin along with your diabetic medications. Shouldn't interfere with anything at all.
Okay. Okay, and another viewer, this one from Holly, is there truth to reversing diabetes?
Yeah, I think it's a misnomer. Some people cure their diabetes with weight loss, and that has been very well documented, that by losing weight, it's not true for all patients, but many patients, by changing their meal planning, losing weight, the diabetes goes away. The challenge is keeping that weight off, because if they gain it back, the diabetes comes back.
Okay. And another caller with a health concern in relation to arthritis and kidney stones. Is there something that our viewer can eat to help prevent these or make them worse? She has heard that healthy foods are not advised. I was wondering if there was truth to that statement, or if you have any recommendations for arthritis and kidney stones in relation to nutrition.
I've heard, again, with kidney stones, really there's no special diet for kidney stones. The one thing that I would encourage them to do is keep well hydrated, so that the kidneys are constantly flushed. And just, again, eating a well-balanced meal plan. They used to stress watching calcium intake with kidney stones, and I guess I would be cautious with calcium supplements over the 1,200 milligrams that's recommended. But again, a well-balanced meal plan, and otherwise plenty of fluids.
Okay, great. Now, another question that we've received tonight is via our social media page, and our viewer asks, in the event of a natural disaster, what is the most important nutrient for people who are starving?
Well, hopefully we don't have any sort of natural disaster that comes up. I think if we're to think about something like that happening, being prepared, it could definitely be important. And I think if we are to prepare for an emergency, probably having some shelf-stable foods would be a really good idea. I would really emphasize energy nutrients, protein, carbohydrate, fat, to make sure that when there's nothing else around, that you have things that are going to fuel you up. So maybe it's something like peanut butter and some whole wheat crackers, or maybe it's some dried fruit and some nuts and maybe some dry cereal, things that are going to last. They're going to last a while, so you have them on hand, and that'll also provide you the energy that you need.
So you're recommending having something that's a little fatty. So does that mean desserts are okay?
Oh, desserts probably wouldn't do a ton for you, but you do bring up something that's really interesting. You know, if we looked back into the 90s, fat was kind of this big enemy, and now what we're seeing is it's becoming something that's a lot more complex, and it's something that people are incorporating into their meals. It's something that I recommend. I recommend healthy fats in your meals and snacks because it is satisfying. It can make your meal stick with you a little bit longer, and that's really important when you're trying to eat well. You want to have foods that stick with you.
Okay, great. So our caller from Port Huron is going to be happy to hear that you do recommend desserts, because they are asking, what about desserts? They always want something sweet, and how does it affect your health?
There should always be room for desserts. Always. That's important. And if you are eating a well-balanced meal plan, you should feel comfortable knowing that you are eating well enough that you can indulge every now and then. It may mean that you don't indulge quite as frequently or have as big of portion sizes as you're used to having, but you definitely don't want to have a list of no foods. You want to have foods that work into your meal plan that you enjoy. Sometimes it's just because they taste really great, and that's okay. Make sure that the rest of your meal plan is very nourishing and loaded with nutrients so you can enjoy it.
Excellent. There you go, folks. We have permission from a registered dietitian that desserts are okay, and she recommends that we eat them. Great. Thank you, Katie. We have a viewer from Southgate who is post-menopausal and has Graves' disease. Should she eat soy products because of the estrogen effects?
There is a concern with that in some people. That's certainly something that I would discuss with a physician. It's probably okay to use soy in moderation, but to start, purposely increasing soy, I would definitely use some caution with that.
Okay. Thank you. A viewer from Cadillac asks if there are any specific foods to help with joint pain. Are you familiar with any foods that help out joint pain in specific?
The only thing along that line that comes to my mind is foods that would help modulate inflammation. So, we keep repeating ourselves, but it's really the story. It's good nutrition. It's getting in those antioxidants from those dark-skinned, like blueberries and even prunes. Getting in your colors, your leafy greens, your orange. Getting in those healthy fats, including some omega-3s in there, some fish a couple times a week, maybe some flax to get in some of those healthy fats.
Okay. Are there any benefits to garlic, adding garlic to your diet? Besides just that it tastes very good.
Well, some people do use garlic as a supplement to lower cholesterol, and it has been shown to do that. It does take extremely large quantities of garlic. Most of us wouldn't get that amount in cooking. But yeah, garlic's a great seasoning, especially if you're trying to cut back on salt. Garlic really helps mask the absence of salt. So it's great seasoning.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, a nutrition-related question. With our liquids that we drink, specifically distilled water, is this the purest form, and is it safe to drink a gallon a week? That's what a viewer from the UP is asking tonight.
Well, that's a really interesting question. I can't say that I've ever been asked that question before. To my knowledge, yes, that should be fine. I think that the main message really is that you should be getting water. You should be hydrating and staying hydrated, and choosing things that are going to help keep your hydration status, especially in the wintertime, to help that be at its peak.
Okay. Another caller is asking, is there a diet specifically for gout? What foods can they eat if they do have gout?
Yes, a low purine diet is usually what's recommended for gout. It's a little controversial over whether it's really necessary because the medications are so much more effective really than moderating diet. But basically the things to watch out for there are meat, broths, and gravies, overeating on protein foods in general. Most of the other foods that they recommend limiting, like oatmeal, but not more than a cup a day. I don't know too many people that eat more than a cup of oatmeal a day anyway. So those are really the big things to be careful of. It's really just not overeating on protein more than anything.
Okay. Now we have a question in from Twitter that relates to some of our younger eaters. How can I stop my kids from being very picky eaters? Do you have any recommendations for those taste buds that aren't quite yet developed?
I love this question. Again, as a mom of two boys, one of my boys is a little bit more on the picky side. First of all, don't give up. Stick with it. Keep offering nutritious foods. That's the most important thing that you can do, is to continue to offer foods that are going to provide good nutrition. They may be foods that your kids don't want right now. That's okay. But when they are grown-ups, they will be much more open to trying those foods. You can definitely try to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into other foods. There are some great cookbooks that can help you to do that. But even if you do that, it's really important to make sure that those foods are present in a more natural state so they can easily identify them. Try to always have something on the table that they will gravitate to so they don't go hungry when you're trying to experiment with some different things. But make it fun, be a good role model, make sure that you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables and some of those foods that are a little more challenging for our picky eaters, and you'll move forward. You might be surprised at what they might be willing to try if you keep offering things.
Okay, and then in our last minute here, we've talked about the health portions for different food groups for adults, but when it comes to children, for our viewers that are parents and grandparents, what are the proper amounts that a child needs to have really quickly, if we could?
That's the great thing about the Myplate, is that really it's perfect for adults and children alike. Your portions for kids may be a little bit different depending on their ages, but really you want to try to make sure that you have all of those food groups present.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I'd like to thank both Katie and Adrian for being here with us tonight. We appreciate all of your great advice that you've been able to provide to our viewers. And also, thank you to our phone operators who volunteered their time tonight to answer your calls via our 1-800 number. We hope that you can join us again next week as we ask the veterinarians. And until then, head on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/askthespecialist. I'm Courtney Jerome. Thanks for joining us, and good night.